Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really monumental event from the Sirah, the biography of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. We're going to explore some highly authentic historical records to uncover the profound early years of his life. We'll be looking at the subtle, yet absolutely undeniable signs of his future that appeared before he even reached adulthood. And our whole journey today really centers around this one captivating question. What miraculous signs in the harsh, unforgiving Syrian desert actually revealed the arrival of the final prophet to a solitary monk? Well, to solve this mystery, we have to travel back in time, stepping onto an ancient trade route where a young, orphaned boy joined a Meccan caravan. Okay, let's take a quick look at this timeline. Following the heart-wrenching passing of his grandfather Abdul Muttalib, young Muhammad, who was just 8 years old at the time, went through a massive transition. The huge responsibility of his guardianship passed to his uncle, Abu Talib, and a really deep, loving bond formed between the orphan and his uncle almost instantly. Just 4 years later, when he was 12, this exact bond would lead them on a historic, fateful trade journey all the way up to Busra, Syria. Section 1, A Household Transformed, The Blessings of the Orphan. So before that journey even happened, Abu Talib's household was, well, it was bustling with a lot of children. And historically, he just wasn't a wealthy guy. Financial strain was pretty much a normal part of their daily reality. But the authentic sources describe a complete, literal transformation the moment his 8-year-old nephew moved in. This young boy brought with him a profound barakah, an immense blessing that completely defied their material circumstances. The historian Ibn Kathir meticulously documents this huge shift in his authoritative work, Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya. The historical texts tell us something just incredible. Whenever the young boy joined the family at the dinner table, the food would miraculously multiply, right? A meal that was typically scarce suddenly became totally sufficient, abundant even, for the whole family. The actual physical presence of this child was actively shifting the reality of Abu Talib's home. Which brings us to Section 2, the journey to Busra, leaving Mecca at age 12. Because of this incredible bond and the blessings he saw every single day, Abu Talib grew so deeply attached to his nephew that he literally couldn't bear to be parted from him for even a second. So, when the time came to lead a massive merchant caravan to the distant lands of Syria, Abu Talib made a pretty unusual decision for such a rough desert trek. He brought the 12-year-old boy along with him. After weeks of grueling travel, the Meccan caravan finally reaches Busra, right near the Syrian border. And this is where the whole atmosphere of our story shifts. Living in absolute isolation out there was a Christian monk named Bahira. Now, he was a renowned scholar, deeply versed in ancient scriptures, specifically the Torah and the Gospel, which contained highly detailed prophecies about the final messenger. Historically, Bahira paid absolutely zero attention to the countless caravans that passed his monastery. But as Abu Talib's caravan approached, something made this time completely, undeniably different. From his vantage point, Bahira witnessed the impossible. First, as the caravan moved through that blistering desert heat, he noticed a distinct, isolated cloud tracking across the sky, continuously shading just one specific young boy. Then, when the caravan stopped to rest under a tree, the physical branches of that tree automatically bowed down. They actually lowered themselves to make sure the boy remained completely covered in shade. Nature itself was responding to him. Bahira watched this happen in absolute awe. Astonished by these impossible anomalies, Bahira instantly broke his lifelong habits. He stepped out of his monastery, prepared a massive amount of food, and urgently invited the entire Meccan caravan to a grand feast. Now, this wasn't just him being hospitable. This was a deliberate test. He needed to examine the individuals in this caravan up close, especially those powerful tribal chiefs, to figure out who among them was commanding the very elements of nature. As the men of the caravan settled in for the meal, Bahira started intensely scouring their faces and physical features. He was looking for those specific prophesied signs detailed in his ancient books. But as he looked from man to man, nothing. The signs were missing. So, building with suspense and probably a bit of frustration, Bahira finally turns to the Quraysh leaders and asks this one pivotal question. Is anyone left behind? The caravan leaders, who were probably super confused by this monk's sudden interest, admitted the truth. They told Bahira that, yeah, they had actually left the youngest member of their group, an orphaned boy, back by the tents to guard the camels and the baggage while the elders ate. Hearing this, Bahira firmly insisted that the feast could not continue until that boy was brought to join them. He knew for a fact his eyes hadn't deceived him earlier. So here is the crucial turning point. When the 12-year-old boy finally arrives, Bahira observes his features super closely throughout the meal. Afterwards, he pulls the boy aside for a private chat, asking him some very specific questions. Finally, he asks to look at the boy's back. And right there, he uncovers the definitive physical sign, the seal of prophethood. As detailed in the historical texts, this was a raised red mark resembling a pigeon's egg located exactly between the boy's shoulders. It was a flawless match to the descriptions Bahira had studied his entire life in the Torah and the Gospel. Armed with this incredible discovery, Bahira immediately tracks down Abu Talib for a rapid-fire interrogation. The monk points right at the boy and asks, "What is his relationship to you?" Abu Talib, acting out of his deep protective love, replies, "He's my son." But Bahira immediately rejects this. He states definitively, this boy's father cannot be alive. Abu Talib is completely stunned by the monk's supernatural insight and finally confesses the truth. "You're right, he's my nephew. His father died before he was even born." Having confirmed every single prophecy, Bahira delivers this dramatic, urgent warning to Abu Talib. He tells him to turn around right now, to take his nephew back to Mecca immediately and fiercely protect him. Bahira was absolutely certain of the boy's destiny, swearing by Allah that if the boy's enemies were to recognize the very signs he had just seen, they would stop at nothing to harm him. Bahira knew that this child's future wasn't just great, but that he was destined to be a mercy to all the worlds as the final messenger. Abu Talib, realizing the grave and immediate danger surrounding his beloved nephew, didn't hesitate for a second. He acted instantly on the monk's solemn warning. He gathered a few highly trusted companions from the caravan and dispatched them to safely escort the young future prophet all the way back to Mecca, shielding him from any potential threats. And this entire breathtaking sequence of events isn't just some story. It's grounded in highly authentic historical sources, meticulously recorded in primary texts like Al-Rahiq al-Maktoum and Ibn Kathir's Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya. It's honestly truly incredible to reflect on how these profound early signs, a shading cloud, a bowing tree, and an ancient seal recognized by a solitary monk, foreshadowed a life that would eventually shape the entire course of human history. But it really leaves us wondering, right? What other miraculous signs were hidden in plain sight, just waiting to be uncovered in the prophet's early years? If you found this explainer insightful and you want to keep exploring the authentic history and miracles of the Sirah with us, make sure to subscribe to Animated Quranic Tales. We've got so much more fascinating history to uncover together. See you next time.